folks. We've started the YouTube streaming as we're getting our final connection secure from the International Space Station. We have another 30 minutes until we will be talking with Commander Kjell Lindgren. I'm hoping that you can hear us on the YouTube as we have our rolling introductory slides. Just doing a quick audio check to make sure that you can hear us on YouTube before we finish out the initial tech check with the ISS. Final testing. Howdy to all Texas Master Naturalists. Can you hear us on YouTube? Yes, they can hear us on YouTube.
And thank you for joining us today.
I'm so excited. The sound is super low, Della is saying. They can hear us, Cheryl says. They're getting us. Awesome. Thank you guys for helping us check the audio from our end to make sure that you are hearing that on YouTube. We still have another 30 minutes or so until we connect with the International Space Station with Kjell, but we are just doing some final audio checks on our end. Continuing to say test, test, test. They are hearing us. This is great. Welcome to all of our Master Naturalists. I love seeing the chapters that are joining us today, so please, in the chat on YouTube, if you're watching there, drop in what chapter you're joining from, where you're joining from. If you're part of the Master Naturalist Program, or if you're not yet a Master Naturalist, we welcome you to today's TMNTuesday event. Very excited that you guys are all here with us today. Continuing to say testing, testing. Hello. We're going to continue to test the audio from our desk to your desk and continuing to run final tech checks as we get ready for our TMNTuesday event with Commander Kjell Lindgren on the International Space Station. There we go. Thank you guys for your feedback on the volume. We are making those adjustments right now. How is it, Dave? We're good? Okay. Do you want to mute us while we wait?
Good afternoon, everyone. We're so glad you're here for our TMN Tuesday today. We're just coming on to do a quick sound check with you to see if you can hear us and if you can hear us well, and get our volume adjusted as we're getting started here this afternoon.
Doing a quick tech check with the audio to make sure that you can hear our voices as Michelle and I are completing that connection, as she just said, with the International Space Station. We have another 10 minutes until we connect with Kjell and the ISS, but we are just finalizing your audio that you're hearing from our end.
And so as we're doing that, you are going to be seeing some rotating slides on the screen just as a little time filler for you, and get to know our TMN Tuesday for June, get to know a little bit about Kjell Lindgren, our astronaut and Texas Master Naturalist in space, and enjoy the show as we're getting started.
Outstanding. I heard your 10 count. That was very good.
Is that part of the interview process?
Yeah, absolutely. So let me know how you all would like to get started. I don't know if we're connected. Are we connected to the presentation already?
We are.
Just went live, yeah.
So your fellow Master Naturalists are watching you, Kjell, and we'd love to have you introduce yourself. Tell us where you are and what we're doing here today to talk to you about.
Outstanding. Well, hello, everybody. Michelle, Mary Pearl, Texas Master Naturalist. Thank you so much for letting me join you today for TMN Tuesday. It's such a privilege to have this opportunity to be working and living on the International Space Station, and then to have this opportunity to connect with you all. So I am a physician by training, and joined NASA in about 2007 as a flight surgeon, and then was selected into the astronaut office in 2009. I trained and then flew to the space station in 2015, and just feel incredibly privileged to have this opportunity to do a once-in-a-lifetime flight again. And so we flew on the SpaceX Crew-Dragon to the International Space Station, launching on April 27th from Kennedy Space Center, and joined Crew-3 up here on the space station. Spent some time with them, and then they departed home, and we've been up here working as a part of Expedition 67 for the past well over 40 days. It's been a spectacular time so far, and I'm really excited to get to join you all on this TMN Tuesday. My wife and I joined the Texas Master Naturalists a little over a year ago. I was in the spring class a year ago, and so I'm really excited to get to share this experience with you all today.
So, Kjell, our first question, Michelle Haggerty here, and our first question for you today, as a reminder, we gave all of our Master Naturalists in audience a chance to send in questions for Kjell to answer, and so that's what we're going from today. Our first question for you are, it's kind of a combo question. What experiences made you fall in love with nature? And then following that up, what made you you and your family become interested in the Master Naturalist Program and motivated you to take the Master Naturalist training with your already packed schedules?
Yeah, thank you. So it'll be a little bit of a long-winded answer. So we absolutely love nature. I think for me, scouting really connected me with nature. So camping and hiking, it's something that I did when I was young, and both of my boys are scouts now, and I'm an assistant scoutmaster for their troop, and continue to love to be in the outdoors, to hike and camp, and to really encourage others to do it too, to connect with nature in that way. So I think that's really where that love of nature comes from. We are huge fans of national parks, huge fans of getting out and going camping, and so I think that's where that connection came from. I would have to say that the impetus to join the Texas Master Naturalist really came from both that love of the outdoors, but then also from my last space station flight. And I think that many astronauts come back from that flight changed in their perspective of the Earth, and I was no different in that. You know, when you look out the window, you see what a beautiful planet we live on. And when you look to the left and look to the right, it is a black, inky void of space, and yet there is this beautiful jewel of blue and white and green, just these vibrant colors from our living planet. But when you look at it, you certainly can see the changes that humankind have had on the Earth, and you see the thin layer of atmosphere that protects us from the cold vacuum of space. Living on the space station really gives you a perspective of what it means to depend on a home. So here on the space station, this incredible vehicle has been operating for over 20 years. Have had crew members living and working here for over 20 years. It provides us with the oxygen at a pressure that we need to breathe. It scrubs out the carbon dioxide. We have access to water, to food. The temperature is regulated. And we recognize that if we don't take care of the space station, that if it breaks, then our very tenuous existence here in space is endangered. And we spend about 30% of our time doing preventive maintenance to keep the space station operating. And so when I look back at the Earth, it's been said many times, but you really gain the perspective that the Earth is humanity's spaceship. There is nothing like it. And as you look to the left and right, up and down around the Earth, there is nothing else out there within easy reach. And the Earth provides us with oxygen. It scrubs out the carbon dioxide. We have access to food and water. And yet I know that for most of us, we don't spend near that 30% or even 10% of the time taking care of this incredible home that takes care of us. So I think that that many of us, and for myself certainly, came back with really a desire to figure out how I could take care of the Earth. What could I do as an individual? And it feels like an insurmountable step to do that, to really make a difference. So I needed to learn. And so the Texas Master Naturalist Program really gave me that opportunity. So through scouting, as a scoutmaster, I really tried to focus our troop on conservation, on outdoor ethics. I became a leave no trace instructor. I took courses in tread lightly and all of the things that we can do to encourage young people, to encourage scouts to take care of the resource that they enjoy so much. And we started, as a part of that, doing conservation projects at local parks, including Armand Bayou Nature Center. We're very close to where we live and to where our scout troop operates. And so it was really there and becoming a volunteer there, and that I heard about the Texas Master Naturalist Program, and so I sought that out. And by that time, we were kind of in the middle of the pandemic, and yet there were still some training opportunities out there. And so my wife and I, and my wife Christy is also very, very interested in the outdoors, and so we decided to take the training together and got to serve together, volunteer together, and become master naturalists together. And so we're incredibly excited to be a part of this group, serving Texas and serving our local ecosystem.
Kjell, Mary Pearl here. You and your wife having taken the dragonfly pin and put it on as part of your Texas Master Naturalist certification. You also have told us stories of the significance of the dragonfly in your day job as well. I'd love for you to tell the story of the dragonfly as a symbol for Crew-4 and the process and the people involved in putting that dragonfly on the Crew-4 patch, please.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so I love patches. I think growing up as a scout, and then also having a father who was in the military, and myself, I was also in the Air Force. Just love patches, the symbolism, what it represents, and what a privilege to get to design patches to represent our mission. And having this opportunity to be a part of Crew-4, the mission, the SpaceX Crew Dragon mission, coming to the space station and then ultimately returning at the end of our mission, we had the opportunity to design a patch for that. And many of the patches, because we have the vehicle is called Dragon, a lot of the patches have incorporated a dragon, very strong images into it. And I have a Chinese back heritage, and so I just have always loved dragons growing up. But when we came to the point when we were designing our patch, I think as a crew we decided that we wanted to have something that was more connected to the Earth and something that was real. And what better representative than a dragonfly, an agile and quick flyer, and we thought that would be the perfect kind of dragon to put on our patch. There's a little bit of background there as well. It turns out that the dragonfly is something of a good luck charm or symbol for the SpaceX group at Kennedy Space Center. And so prior to every flight, and specifically from the very first flight, Demo 2, which launched a couple of years ago, as that crew was getting ready to fly, a dragonfly landed on one of the crew members' shoulders immediately prior to their flight. And prior to that, the weather had been bad and they had scrubbed, but when the dragonfly landed on his shoulder, they kind of took that as a good luck symbol. And every subsequent mission, that team has been on the lookout for a dragonfly. And so I got to be a part of a couple of those missions as a support personnel and found the dragonflies. And so that's been a kind of a fun tradition in the run-up towards launch. And so wanting to kind of take that history and symbolism, and then also just the connection to the Earth, we decided that we really wanted to put a dragonfly. We wanted to bring our own dragonfly with us on our patch. And so my daughter, Alexandra, is an amazing artist. She's actually going to Texas A&M right now in the visualization program. She would love to do concept art for animation for movies. But I asked her what she thought and if she would maybe take a stab at a couple of designs. And she went off and went and did an absolutely amazing job. She studied old space station patches and shuttle patches and SpaceX patches, and really kind of incorporated elements of all of those and provided us with 3 designs. They were all amazing, but one really just stood out to me in particular. And then I presented those to my crew. I didn't actually tell them that my daughter had designed them. I wanted them to just kind of make a decision based on the merits of the patch itself, and they all loved it. And then I let them know that Alexander had designed it, and we really couldn't be happier with it. It's a beautiful patch, and we love having the dragonfly as kind of the centerpiece of that patch, because when you're walking around, when we were walking around at Kennedy Space Center or walking around at home, every time you see a dragonfly, it just kind of gives us a little piece of joy.
So, Kjell, you had mentioned a little bit about earlier how every astronaut that goes to space has this deeper connection with Mother Earth. And the next question we have, all master naturalists are eager to know from you. Over your various times in space, have you been able to witness visually or see the difference that natural resource stewardship has made and management has made on Earth over your various visits to space?
It's a great question. You can definitely tell where there are protected areas. And so, like I said, humanity has certainly changed. When you look at the Earth, you see the effect that humanity has on it. And much of it is good and necessary. We need agriculture to feed our populations, and we build cities and places for people to live, and that's all good. But I think as we do that, if we make sure that we're keeping an eye towards taking care of the Earth and making sure that we're protecting areas so that we're preserving wildlife that's important to a given ecosystem, that we're really taking those things into consideration, because ultimately the changes that we make have an effect on us and have an effect on the quality of our lives and the lives of our kids in the future. So when you look back at the Earth, you can see areas that are protected. They are dark green. They are uninterrupted by roads and development, and it's, I mean, it's very clear that that's what's going on. On the flip side, and there are some countries where you can see those areas being, you can see the effects of deforestation. You can, forest fires are amazingly clear up here. And the effects that they have over really a continent. And so all of those things are intertwined. And so good stewardship of the land leads, I think, to preventing a lot of those things from happening. And so it's pretty amazing that you can see that from low Earth orbit.
As a master naturalist, are there any naturalist skills you're using aboard the ISS? And likewise, are there any naturalist type projects that you're working while you're on the International Space Station?
Wow, the skills. So, I mean, I think that really one of the skills a master naturalist has is the desire and willingness to be a lifelong learner. It was so fun going through the naturalist curriculum, learning about just the local ecology and more specifically, but then also the ecology and some of the kind of stewardship practices in our local communities. And so that learning element is something that certainly I had to bring to my astronaut career, to my medical career, and then also in preparation for coming up to space station. We do 2 years of training as astronaut candidates when we first join the astronaut office, and then about a year of training in preparation for a specific mission. And so it was exciting to get to go through that training. And some of that training doubled up a little bit with the Master Naturalist training that we did. I did a little over a year ago. But again, that desire to continue to learn and understand the environment around us, I think, is really important. Up here, we don't generally have specific projects that we bring up to station. There's the science is established here. We have a nonprofit on the Earth that is really vetting and encouraging science to come up to station, and we get trained on it and then execute it while we're up here. But I think one project that I did kind of come up with is along the lines of the question that you posed, and that is wanting to take pictures of familiar places back on the Earth. And for me, that's national parks and wildlife refuges. Trying to snap a picture of Armin Bayou and a lot of the places that I got to volunteer while working up to get the Texas Master Naturalist certification. And you learn a little bit about the weather in that respect. We can have just great passes over places on the Earth, but sometimes the weather doesn't cooperate. The clouds kind of obstruct the view. But thankfully, we've got plenty of time up here, and I'm eager to try and collect a bunch of photos of familiar places back home on Earth.
So, Kjell, as you are looking back on Earth and you're seeing these familiar places, specifically on this mission, what type of insight can you share with your fellow master naturalists about the general state of our planet as you see it outside your window today?
Yeah, it's really hard for me to kind of think about what I saw last time 7 years ago and what I'm seeing now. I think that when you see areas that have been preserved, I think that gives you a lot of hope. Areas that are green and that are not suffering from drought. But you also see, unfortunately, the effects of pollution. You see the effects of maybe overworking the land and the effects of deforestation. And so I think that the efforts of naturalists, not just in Texas, but all over the world, people that recognize how important taking care of the planet is to humanity's welfare, I think is really important, and I think it's a message. It's work that I'll always be interested in doing, and a message that I'll carry back to me to Earth.
So as you're thinking about your homeward bound trip in the near future, how do you think this flight experience over the last couple of months and the coming months may inform your Master Naturalist efforts when you put feet back on terra firma? And then how does that impact your outreach to the public about those resources that you were able to see at a much grander scale?
Yeah, I think it's going to be very similar to my last mission, that desire to be a part of the solution. Things that an individual can do to make a difference. And, you know, I think about learning and being involved, learning more about the local environment and local efforts, and participating in programs like the Texas Master Naturalist Program, volunteering at places like Armand Bayou and other wildlife refuges and nature centers. You continue to work with Scouts, both on the local and maybe regional and national levels, for teaching conservation and outdoor ethics, leave no trace programs like that really focus on good stewardship of this incredible planet that we get to live on. And so I think that maybe I'll be able to speak about those things a little more intelligently, having gone through the curriculum and having this desire to continue to learn. But I really look forward to sharing this experience. And I try to share this message in all of the different, outreach that I get to be a part of, because I think it's important.
So there's a burning question that several of our Master Naturalists sent in for you, Kjell. And many people wanted to know if there are any species that came up on that hitched a ride with you, even if in the form of a Master Naturalist pin or patches maybe. And we did share a couple of the photos that you sent us earlier today in the promo as we were waiting to get started. So the biggest question that we receive from our membership is there anything that's hitched a ride with you, such as spiders, flies, or other creatures?
Well, there are definitely a lot of dragonflies up here, but unfortunately, they're only on our patches and on decals. Well, I take that back. I actually better grab this before it flies away.
Oh my God!
But there are a few Master Naturalist pins and patches as well. It's funny, when the capsule is on the launch pad, the hatch is open and we're getting in. We have the support crew there that's helping us get into the capsule. It's open to the air, and actually there was a time when I think there were bees flying around, and so have bees or flies or insects made it up as stowaways on a capsule. I wouldn't be surprised. I haven't seen any up here in the times that I've been up here, but I'm sure that it's happened. As a course of science, though, we certainly have had insects. And I know that there was a time that we had spiders on the space station to see what kind of webs they would spin in this weightless environment, to see what kind of gravity cues they required in order to be able to spin webs. And so there are certainly times when we've had insects and other arthropods up here as a part of our scientific research. But I'm not aware of any current stowaways.
And then the other most burning question amongst Master Naturalists, and we talked about this with you last week in getting ready, when you were talking about your photo project. If you take a picture out the window of the International Space Station, do you win iNaturalist because you have gotten them all? And have you taken any pictures out of your window?
I've certainly taken a lot of pictures. I don't know that iNaturalists, I'm pretty impressed with iNaturalist's identification algorithms, and I know that you have a lot of folks weighing in. I don't, I think the best that we could do is maybe identifying continents and oceans. So, yeah, I don't know that I would win anything, but it would be certainly fun to enter an image into iNaturalist from up here.
Yeah. Okay, Kjell, kind of going forward, do you see is there a role for master naturalists to play in future space explorations? And if so, what unique value can a trained master naturalist bring to a highly technical flight crew of scientists?
Well, I mean, that's one of the amazing things of getting to do this job is the amazing people that make up our team. We have the privilege of getting to learn from geologists and oceanographers, from physical scientists and fluid dynamics scientists, from engineers, and from people from across numerous spectrums. And so, I think as hopefully we develop an interest in life on Earth as a part of living in space, that there's an opportunity to educate and perhaps returning crew members becoming a Texas Master Naturalist would be something that they might be interested in doing. And certainly I think returning to the space station or someday going to the moon or Mars with that observer's eye, that understanding of the water cycle and the geology of kind of local areas, all that just kind of builds into that the scientific training and I think that mindset of constantly learning, observing, and so I think that certainly just from an education standpoint, there's a role for Texas Master Naturalists and potentially to help train up a future generation of astronauts.
And I believe one of your fellow crew members is a geologist, this Crew-4. Is that correct? Have you been able to train any?
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
Train any? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Absolutely right. Jessica Watkins, or Waddy, she is a geologist. She's amazing, and we are delighted to have her on our crew because she's our Rosetta Stone for when we look back at the Earth. The Earth is absolutely amazing, and just spending a little bit of time on Google Earth, honestly, going over northern Mexico and through the American Southwest, or looking over the Himalayas, really spending time looking at the Earth and just the amazing landscapes and colors that are there, and thinking about what we get to see when we look out our windows. And so having Waddy there to help explain some of the geologic formations to us is absolutely amazing.
So, Kjell, we're coming up on the end of our program here today. I want to do a shout out to all of our Gulf Coast chapter members. If you notice, Kjell is wearing his Gulf Coast Master Naturalist shirt today. Anything special you want to say to the Gulf Coast chapter and the rest of our membership?
Oh, well, just thank you so much for, first of all, the service that you provide back to Texas, back to your local communities, and thank you for being educators and mentors. That's the only reason that I had the opportunity to learn and to find these service and volunteer opportunities is because of this community's willingness to teach and mentor and to bring others up so that we are all able to serve together. What a privilege to get to talk with you all today. Very grateful for that opportunity. And as we're closing out, I'm actually going to pull the camera off and we're going to go look out the window. So keep on talking as I do this.
So as you're doing that, Kjell, we want to thank you for taking time out of your schedule and offering this to our membership and the public today. We're honored that you chose us to be a part of this experience with you. and honored to have you among our ranks as a master naturalist.
And as a friend, to have somebody that we can say is an advocate for natural resource stewardship in a larger audience way that you are. Oh, wow. Oh, that's incredible. We see just a...
So we're looking out of the Japanese experiment module outside. We lovingly call it the porch, but it is the exposed facility where they put experiments out there through the airlock. You can see our solar array, and then just maybe off in the corner you can see the hazy blue of Earth's atmosphere. It is just absolutely gorgeous up here, and always a treat to look out the window.
It's amazing.
That's absolutely amazing.
Breathtaking, really.
So again, thank you so much for those kind words. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I wish you all the best, and I hope to see you in October for the annual meeting.
Kjell, we would be honored to have you at our annual meeting in October in Houston, and hope that you and your wife, both Christy, and you and your daughter as well, entire family can join us this fall. And we wish you the safest of travels and the best of luck with all of the research that you're doing. And again, thank you to you and your entire crew for making this opportunity and event possible. And all of the tech folks that are here behind the scenes.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely a pleasure. And I'd also like to thank everybody that made this possible. I know that there's a lot of coordination going on to pull this off. So thank you for making that possible.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. I wish you all the best. Y'all have a great rest of the week. And again, hope to see you soon.
You too. Thank you. Oh my God. Oh, that looks so cool.
It's awesome.
I don't know. I have no more words.
Yeah, can't top that.
So for our master naturalists watching, we're speechless, absolutely speechless watching him just float there. Thank you guys for joining our TMN Tuesday event, and we'll see you next month.